What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Zebec today, ZBCN. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here, and let's get into it. All right, it is the 8th day of February. We're sitting here at $0.0224 with roughly 7 hours and 7 minutes left in the day. With a nice recovery here. We look at this on the weekly time frame and take our all-time low point and an all-time high point on a Fibonacci scale, and you can see that we have found support right at the golden ratio zone. This week has 7 hours and 7 minutes left in this day. In this week, we've got quite the recovery. I mean, that's quite the massive recovery there on a weekly time frame now. The last time that we've seen a candle like this take shape was here. And the next week we did continue pushing higher, but that's basically where the buck stopped, and we consolidated for a few months, and then we dropped lower. So does this in itself mean that this move down is done? No, but it's a really good look. It is a really good look right now. And I do believe, what I don't believe is that we were in an ascending triangle and that we broke out. I don't believe that, because again, this doesn't represent that. This looks more like a fake out in that sense. But if we are inside of a channel and we hit the base of that channel, it might make sense that we see some volatility. I mean, we did back here. We did right here at like probably the quarter line of this channel. You know, we could probably draw a channel on this if we do the daily time frame here. Let's just see. Something like this from the high. Come on. Connect the dots to this high maybe. I think that looks good. And then put it down at this low. Let's just see what we got here. I mean, we're finding resistance right in the center line there. We found support right in this area plenty of times and found support at this line, direct resistance at this line. It's not a perfect channel, but more or less, you know, something like this is what I think we're in. We could be at a resistance point. I wouldn't be surprised if we climbed higher. I want to look at the short-term stuff and then zoom out from there. So let's do that. 1 hour time frame here. We're moving sideways. We're in a horizontal consolidation phase, and we moved up into this horizontal consolidation phase. Crypto's been screwy. It's been very screwy recently, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if we sold off and even went below this low. And then as soon as we get below this low, that's whenever we move up. That's whenever things get good. We might be in a bull flag overall. It could be some type of bull flag. And again, we're at the top end of this range. Maybe we come down and then we break out. I don't know. It's a pretty wide flag if it is a bull flag. 1 hour time frame looking at the RSI. It's not the most positive looking, but it is more bullish than bearish. Stochastics technically would suggest that we don't drop right now because your blue is all the way down here. It's weird. It's weird. Stochastics aren't as reliable on the 1 hour, let alone when you're choppy and sideways like this. So maybe I'll just give a pass on the stochastics and the MACD. The MACD is bullish technically, but again, it gets a pass. Stochastics are bearish technically, gets a pass. RSI, it's bullish overall, but I wouldn't be surprised if we came down. With that, you do have lower lows here while having higher lows in the price. It's not a bad thing. I don't know. There's some good stuff and some bad stuff here, but again, just when you're choppy sideways like this, you get kind of readings that don't matter or make sense sometimes. I think Zebec is one of the few coins that's actually had a successful V-shaped recovery. Depends, you know, if the V started here, maybe you're still in the process of this V-shaped recovery. Honestly, like you still have the chance. I would say if you kept moving like this, even if you move like this, that's still that's a V-shaped recovery, guys. You still look pretty good. You could be in the process of it still. If you come down here, you're definitely not in a V-shaped recovery anymore, but I think the V started here. It could have started here, but I think it started here, and you saw your high above there, so that's actually a good thing. 4 hour time frame. RSI keeps rejecting the overbought zone. That's not good. Stochastics, weaker readings. That's not good. MACD at a point to find resistance. That's not good. What about the volume? What's the volume like? It's probably dying off, right? We probably have non-existent volume on this secondary high. Probably a lot of volume on that first high. Yeah. So I think we're going to come back down. I mean, there's a chance that I could be wrong and that we move up from here, and that's great if we do. And again, if that's the case, maybe we should look at this as a potential overall V here, in which we looked at these targets or maybe even these targets. But if I'm right, and I think I'm right, my assumption would be that we do pull back from here and that we probably do come down to the golden ratio. Again, just below this low. Maybe we find support at the 0.5, but something between, I suppose, for counting that, 0.01925 to 0.01747. Something in this area for support. That's my thought. I don't believe we go lower than this low. It's completely possible that we do. This is not a valid low yet, and let's actually go over what we need to see to validate this low on that note. Daily time frame. I mean, really, I don't know. Let's see. Let's take this high. Let's go back to May, where we are. I mean, it might be a valid low. It could go lower. 1414 right there. We're not going to take the fake out high. We're going to take this high. Genuinely, we could still go down to like 00128. You know, that is still a possibility. I'm not calling for that, but it's still a possibility, especially with this setup. I mean, if we found support here, found resistance here, and came back down, there's very little stopping us from going down here. We found support before down there, and it's your golden ratio. So 00128 is a possibility. I'm expecting we find a higher low, probably at the 1272, and then we move up. But in case I'm wrong, we'll find support down here, we'll get a lower low, and then we'll move up. Likely either path will still take us above the highs here. So even if you panicked and you bought that high at the wrong time, you don't know what to do. Do I sell? Do I hold? Do I wait? Whatever. If you wait long enough, I'm sure that the price will come back to prices that are even higher than what this high offered. But I'm not expecting that we see a lower low. I am calling for a higher low based off of this range here from a low to a high. The golden ratio is right there, and the 1272 is right there. I think that's perfect. 00178, somewhere around there. 00182, 00174, whatever. Something in that area I think is perfect. I think that's exactly where we're going to go. But if we do go lower, again, 0013 would effectively be where we'd go. Just below there. Daily RSI, overall bearish. Stochastics are bullish on the daily time frame. The MACD is overall bearish as well. Weekly time frame, bearish on the RSI. You are in a downtrend, a very pronounced downtrend, unfortunately. It's probably persists until you get into the oversold zone. And assuming that we keep up this trajectory, let's just use some lines here. Let's use some lines, and then let's use maybe some logic, hopefully. Pretty parallel, love to see that. That's typically a good sign that we're on the right track, right? I would assume that we're probably, let's say we kept dropping right now, we're probably not going to get into the oversold zone. We bounce off this line again. So whether we drop right now, whether we bounce right now, whatever it is, we're probably not going to get oversold until April or later, okay? And I would assume it's not just going to be one dip into the oversold zone and then we're out. We'll probably get two dips in the oversold zone, some bullish divergence, and then we'll break out. I'm thinking, I mean, that could be July or August that we really start to move up higher, that we stop being in a bear market, or maybe even a little bit later. But that lines up with a lot of time frames that I've had set out for various cryptos. So I like seeing this kind of channel getting predominantly oversold here. Or like here, it's not predominantly oversold. There's just a portion of it, but here it's predominantly oversold in this channel sometime in like July and August. That makes the most sense to me. What was I gonna do? Right. Here, we were the most oversold that Zebec has ever been, at least on this chart. And was that the all-time low? No. No, it was not. But it was very near the all-time low. Very, very close to it. Once we get oversold, once we're in this area, are we at the low? No. Once we break out of this, are we at the low? No. But we're very near it. And maybe we're at the low. I should say maybe. But we're at least very near it, if not. All in all, we're at 00226 right now. I assume we're going to pull back, find a higher low at the golden ratio zone, move up to prices that are higher than this. We probably have a hard time getting above 003 and likely find resistance, I would think, either just above or just below that number, probably just below. We get a macro lower high. I don't expect this is going to happen quick, right? Like this move here, we look at it, we're on a daily time frame. This took 3 days. I think this next phase is probably going to take like more than a week. But once it happens, that's the lower high. We'll consolidate and then start to taper off and slowly move down probably. If I'm wrong, if we start breaking out, if we break this trend, you guys, and we get a higher high, we can talk about that then. We can talk about a real possibility of, again, taking out new all-time highs. But let's just wait and see. For now, I'm assuming we're in this downtrend. I've got nothing else to say. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all. Take care. Bye-bye.